because we're a few generations now into birthing in the hospital.
Mhm.
When you start to like unpack those layers, like birth can be and is such a healing process for us as women. Like I heard this incredible story from this woman that she studied kinesiology and she was in a terrible motor vehicle accident where her entire lower abdomen was crushed and she was told she'd never have children. And the birth process to her alone healed years of pain, scar tissue.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You are listening to the Pelvic Pulse podcast, and I am sitting with a very special guest. We have Dr. Sonja here, and Dr. Murray is a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine, former pediatric nurse, a mother of two, and the founder of Sovereign Support, a women's community devoted to health sovereignty and self trust. Her work guides women through their sacred seasons, menstruation, fertility, pregnancy, postpartum, and motherhood, helping them reconnect with their body's innate wisdom and make informed, sovereign decisions about their health and birth experiences. Sonja's own journey from hospital based nursing and a cesarean birth with her first child to free birthing her daughter 8 years later profoundly reshaped both her life and her work. Today, she blends traditional Chinese medicine, ancestral nutrition, and body literacy education to help women build confidence in their bodies and advocate for themselves and their families. She's also passionate about expanding conversations about financial sovereignty and helping women heal their relationship with money so they can share their gifts with the world and cultivate generational wealth for their families. Thank you for being here, Dr. Sonja.
Yes, I'm so excited. Oh, hearing you read that, I just have chills. I'm like, what a journey.
No, I literally do too. I'm like, oh my gosh, this woman's gonna have so much to drop on us, and I cannot wait to get into the nitty gritty. Like where to begin? I feel like we just, said that I really wanted to hear what this 8 year journey was like between your cesarean birth with your son to all then getting into a free birth with your daughter and how profound that must have been. I'm like, where do you want to begin?
I just like, I guess I'll start by saying I feel like I'm still such an average girl. Like I grew up in Minnesota, rural Minnesota. I like now looking back, I see like what was unique about how I grew up, but like thinking about it big picture, I'm like, yeah, there was really nothing like special about me, and I still feel like that way. The more I hear other women's stories too, I'm like, we're all capable of this type of life. And
Mm.
so, yeah, I grew up in Minnesota. My mom was a nurse. She was a labor and delivery nurse. So
Wow.
that conversation was just like typical, dinner conversation was
I
like
love that.
talking about birth. It was nothing special. My dad was in business and he worked for the military. And so I was actually first generation American, but still felt like very American because I don't think my parents really instilled until I was older, like their culture on us. I guess
Mm.
there was bits of it, but my
Where are they
mom's from
from?
Ireland. So my mom grew up in Ireland. She's the only one that moved away. So all of my like extended family is still in Ireland. And then my dad grew up in Norway and then was a military child, so like kind of all over the US as well. And
Whoa.
so, yeah, I like now looking back, there was little parts. They lived in Malaysia for a while. So when I was little, like my dad would use herbal liniments and stuff. So as I went into Chinese medicine, I was like, oh, actually, there's probably a reason I was drawn to this,
I love
this
it.
type of medicine. But it was like not in my awareness until it was. Like I went into nursing school right after high school because that was like the thing to do. I mean, I was born in 88. And so when we were looking at what to do after high school was like career choices, it was still like the the
Mm.
book. Like you're flipping through like how much money can I make?
Mm-hmm.
Like what are my
Mm-hmm.
career choices? And so it was like nursing was the safe bet. And it's all part of the journey now. Like I learned so much. I worked for two large healthcare organizations. I first started at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, which is like the world famous Mayo Clinic. So I saw everything. And I love pediatrics. I always have. I still do. I still love working with kids. They're
Mm.
just a different level of resiliency, but it really opened my eyes to like, first of all, just variety of like how dis-ease and disharmony within the body does show up. I mean, I cared for like, I think it was like 73 plus specialties at the time I left the hospital, just like how vast, just everything I saw and worked with. But then it like quickly put me into a space of like, this does not feel aligned with who I am. And I didn't always have like language for it or a way of I could feel it in my body, but I didn't really know what the alternative was. So about a few years into nursing practice, well, first of all, I wasn't good on my health. I like look
Mm,
back at pictures and I was like, I was inflamed, I wasn't sleeping, but I was healthy, right?
sure.
Like I think about like even undergrad, like
Oh my
all of
God.
the beer and wings, like
Oh my gosh,
the
grad school was like all
crap I did to
beer and
myself.
wings. Oh my gosh,
Grad school
that's
for me was the opposite. My family were like,
yeah.
"What are you feeding me now?" Like, but I was an adult then, like, and I had lived experience.
hmm
Also swore I'd never go back to school, like never. And
After nursing.
yeah.
Oh.
I was like, "Yep, this is my career. This is," and then like 2 years in, I was like, something different needs to happen.
Totally.
So I'll say I didn't even really Chinese medicine wasn't even like on the horizon for me. I was looking into holistic nursing careers because that's the natural next step is nurse
Mm,
practitioner or other roles. And everything was so just like policy pushing. I'd be behind a desk trying to fight for integrative services in a system that is not supportive of that level of care because there's no dependency. When
mm.
you know how to care for yourself, then you are your own doctor. And so I, yeah, I just kind of let it be and wrote it out until a friend of mine's husband went to school for acupuncture and Chinese medicine. And she actually suggested I get acupuncture from him to help with sleep because I was working night shifts. And so, yeah, I went in like not really knowing anything about acupuncture. And I got off the table and I was like, how do I sign up? Like, this is it. This is a whole system of medicine that exists that looks at you as a whole person in relationship to your environment. I was like, yes, everything I've been looking for. And no joke, like I've never made a decision this fast. 3 months later, our house was sold. I'd moved our family an hour and a half north, and we were like living with a friend who was flipping his house. We just made it work. And I started grad school, like not even really knowing what I was going to school for, other than it was just like inner knowing, I guess. Like,
Okay. Wait, so then in the context of having your son, where
yeah,
was that birth along
yes,
that
thank you.
track?
So, yeah, so he was like two at the time I started grad school. So, like
Mhm.
a year and a half at the time that I discovered acupuncture. And it's kind of a funny birth story. I'll keep it a little short just because it could go.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
There's so many
but
details.
yeah, so my husband and I, okay, we'll go back here a little bit. So we were, trying on the different holistic lifestyles and we were vegan at the time, thinking, about animal warfare or,
Mhm.
the health of animals and how they're supported and just seeing kind of factory farming for which it was at the time. So we went on this journey. We were supposed to go out to a Cowspiracy convention in
Mhm.
Baltimore
Mm.
in Maryland when I was 34 weeks pregnant. And it actually got postponed, but we had a friend that was in the FBI out there that we were like, "Oh, let's go visit him instead." And I was kind of bitter about the trip because I was like, I'm really pregnant. I just want to like eat oysters and drink wine. And I can't. Which fast forward, I ate so many oysters when I was pregnant with my daughter.
Oh my gosh, I
But
love it.
kind of funny. So, anyways, we end up going out there, and I don't even know I'm in labor. I feel some cramping, and I end up going into labor when we're out there. I call the hospital. I called Mayo back home, and I'd seen a midwife twice, like very low level of care, because they actually had this pilot program going that you could do all your own monitoring
Mm.
if you're gonna follow the system's way of prenatal care, which I was doing, but like in a very kind of low level. And so, yeah, they're like, yeah, I should probably get checked. And I went in and I was 7 centimeters dilated and his foot was out of my cervix. And I didn't know I was in labor. So
Oh
they
my God. Sonia.
suggested So they're like, yeah, you might want to like make some arrangements for that flight you're supposed to have home tomorrow. And like, they were super chill about it though, which I'm so thankful for. My husband,
Yeah.
he's so funny. He like seemed all chill on the surface, but after the fact, he said he like went into the bathroom right after, like told him and like threw water on his face and like in the mirror
Oh
was
my
like, get your shit together. Like you have to be here for her. So it's funny that we talk about it now, but
God.
yeah, so I went through the whole kind of like as I knew as a nurse, I went through and had a C-section. He was born at 34 and 5 weeks and needed a little bit of respiratory support initially, just like room air oxygen support, or not even oxygen. It was just the pressure.
Mhm.
And then we had a 2 week stay at their like it was we were at a medical center, which I was really thankful for because they didn't like over medicalize everything. They were pretty chill. There wasn't many people there. We were the Minnesota family. Like everyone was super nice to us and
Yeah.
kind.
Oh.
And I was able to like fully breastfeed him and still like do as much natural support in that situation. So I learned a lot. I was very humbled by the experience. We actually had a place to stay at the Ronald McDonald House, which meant then our family could come stay. So like my mom came out, my best friend, and so yeah, brought me clothes from home and all those things
Aw,
too.
love that.
And it was wild because 2 weeks prior, I was actually volunteering at the Ronald McDonald House in Rochester serving meals, and then 2 weeks later, we're staying there. Like,
Wow.
so it opened up my, just like what it's
Awareness.
like to be in, yeah, exactly, my awareness to like be in that position. And then it also was like slowly started to kind of eke into me that was like, was this even really possible? Like, was this necessary? Like, I was like, I was that far along. Had I been like in the comfort of the space, and I just kind of, I didn't really like feel the trauma or like
Mhm.
notice any of this until I started supporting other women that were then sharing their stories of birth with me and holding on to so much just fear and anxiety around their next pregnancy because of what they experienced their previous. And then it kind of opened up like, oh, actually, like the way I was treated or the way things were done, like I was never actually really given choice,
Mm.
although so it kind of brought up this idea of, like informed consent and like what that truly means. And so it just like, as I then went through graduate school, dove into private practice, everything was just kind of a new layer added on that just kind of was like, why are we so conditioned to be so disconnected? And so there's, a lot of things you could say about that. But that then I knew we would want to have a second child when I was done with graduate school. And so it just gave me plenty of time to self-reflect and then like look forward as to how I wanted to experience my next pregnancy and birth. Um,
Hmm. Okay, wait.
yeah,
Can I pause you? Because
please.
I'm very curious. I do have friends who are labor and delivery nurses, and I'm just so curious what your perspective was of like what even in nursing school or in your practice, like what was the sense of what a cesarean was for someone versus like having a vaginal birth and breech and all these things. It was really interesting. I'll just share this little piece, but
Yeah.
um like her understanding, one of them was that every first time mom is gonna tear. And I was like, huh, that's an interesting indoctrination. Like, can we talk about that? But
Well,
I was just curious, like where was your headspace at with that?
I mean, it's like in nursing school, I think about like we're taught to like check boxes, follow rules, follow orders, and never like really question because we have to stick to our scope of practice. Like it was like I think it's like the legalities behind it that just kind of like groom us into this.
Mm,
But also it's like we're like taught to like look for the issue
mm,
because like we need to be and I'm just processing this as you're saying it. It's kind of the first time I've thought of it this way. But like we're taught to like we have a very intimate connection with our patients when you're like in such a vulnerable space with them. But we're also like we're the eyes and the ears in the hospital, and so it's like to then follow the rules, right? And like to be able to tell the provider when we need to escalate that level of care. It's like we're always looking for something to go wrong. It's like
Right.
we're over assessing. We're always, and it's like, I don't know if it's like from a litigative standpoint of just being afraid of like,
Like CYA kind of a thing.
yeah, just like, what could go wrong in a court of law, like in
Right.
like always having to kind of defend yourself.
Right.
And so I think there's part of that, but also like I think we're just so disconnected from our bodies, from our environment, from the wisdom that used to be passed down that because we're a few generations now into birthing in the hospital.
Hmm.
When you start to like unpack those layers, like birth can be and is such a healing process for us as women. Like I heard this incredible story from this woman that she studied kinesiology and she was in a terrible motor vehicle accident where her entire lower abdomen was crushed and she was told she'd never have children. And the birth process to her alone healed years of pain, scar tissue. I mean, like so in Chinese medicine we have these we call them our golden opportunities and postpartum, so it's menarche, it's the onstart of menstruation, postpartum, and then the so it's like the maiden to mother and the mother to crone
Yes.
transitions.
Yes.
And so during postpartum it's like it's an opportunity for us to heal ourselves, mind, body, spirit, on all levels. And so if you can, and again, this is like wisdom that's always been passed down, but it's just like, who are you listening to? Who are you putting, whose energy are you putting around you? And when I made that transition into Chinese medicine, it opened so many doors to, when I went into herbalism, I learned from so many wise women that are still passing down these traditions. And so it was like a gateway.
Mm.
And I still see providers practicing, and I won't, I mean, I'm not on any pedestal, but I still see some practitioners providing holistic medicine that can still be very narrow-minded to what our culture has taught us to be normal. And so like going back to, the like every first time mom tears and just like, it's like, there's this sense of like, I don't know if you ever heard like the triad between like the hero, the villain, and the victim. And so it's like a lot of us in healthcare, especially in Western healthcare, are taught to like be the hero and like that we need to relieve this woman of her suffering pain. We need to, like if she doesn't tear, well, it's because I helped her, coached her pushing. It's like it's there's so much I could say. There's so many
I
layers.
know. I know.
Ah.
I feel it. No, but I want you to keep going because this is a lot of I think anyone in a healing position or and it's not even like a power position necessarily, but sometimes it gets to be like that. And you have this sense of maybe responsibility, like you're saying, to relieve someone and fix them. And yeah, it's not necessarily your job if we want to get out of that triangle dynamic of um yeah, like a victim, hero, and like an evil. What and who is the evil? What's the evil, right?
And it all lives within us. That's the
Exactly.
thing is it's learning that the shadow side of us, right? Like to look at us from all angles and be like, um, I think anytime you're especially supporting other women, it's like it's so important to constantly check in with ourselves. And I think that's what's really led me down the sovereign path of supporting women is like I really can only speak from my own experience. And I've had quite a journey that I feel like I like that's why a lot of women maybe listen. And I'm learning to be more vulnerable and share this just straight from my heart because like we learn from narrative and from other women's experiences. And then that wakens up something inside of ourselves to see ourselves differently. And really, like, that's my goal in working with women, is like to get them to start to see that, that mirror reflected on themselves, is to like, am I actually going down a path that I want in my health and supporting my family, in my business and your career choice. And I mean, it's not easy to leave the roles we've been in when they've supported us financially. I think about like when I took the leap to leave the hospital, it was like the biggest leap of trust. I'm so thankful to my husband, who was like, we're going to make this work. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of safety and security and a good paycheck. I
Mm.
knew that I could pick up hours and have that. And so I kind of translate that into then my second birthing experience is like, I knew what I could experience that I did before. And yeah, like, yes, maybe I could have a safe outcome of a birth if I had gone down the same experience, but it wasn't in my heart anymore. My values had changed so much. And, once you unlearn all of this, you can't unsee it. And so it really led me into this like just journey of self-responsibility. And I was really quiet my second pregnancy because I was holding so much energetically. And like, I mean, when you're pregnant, your energy is very vulnerable and open because you are stepping in through a portal.
Mhm.
And so, others just love to throw their birth trauma on you and all of their stories and experiences. So I protected myself what I could with that. I was thankful I was pregnant over the winter because like in the
Mm.
springtime, some of my neighbors were like, I didn't even know you're pregnant because I wore like my husband's huge coat and I was like, that was on
Yeah. Oh my
purpose.
gosh. I love it.
But yeah, I'm really thankful to just the online space for women speaking about their birth experiences. The Free Birth Society was an
Mhm.
amazing resource, just hearing other women's stories.
Mhm.
I kind of was like a huge sponge, absorbing them until the time I got pregnant and a little bit into my pregnancy. And then I actually put the brakes on listening to other people's stories because I was like, no, I need to walk my own path and I don't want to like absorb anyone else's experience at that time. But it really helped me when it comes to like risk and safety. Because, like, as a nurse, you're taught like evidence-based, evidence-informed decision making, which, like, what is evidence? Because we're not robots, we're humans.
Mhm.
We experience life so
Like
many different ways.
evidence is coming from others' lived experience typically,
Yes, absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. But the more it's like dissected,
Right.
like I talk about like when I left Mayo and there was 73 specialties. Yeah, the more you silo everything, the more disconnected you are. It's like,
Correct. Yeah, the compartmentalization of people's even diagnoses, right?
yeah,
Like you can split up body parts, you can split up systems, you can split up diagnoses, and it causes like a separateness
absolutely.
that makes it harder
Absolutely.
to come back and heal
Yes,
wholly.
absolutely. So yes, this kind of how I looked at it when it came to like responsibility was like was all risk, right? So like, okay, what's like. And even just like looking at the numbers, there's not a ton of data on free birth. So when I say free birth, what it essentially means is it's an unmedicalized birth, in that you are like kind of unobserved. Some people will say like it's not unsupported birth because you're always supported spirit by,
Mm-mm.
however you look at that. But my goal was to walk through my pregnancy only looking for um, additional insight. So, like, I chose not to do ultrasounds or other assessments unless I felt like the benefit outweighed the risk.
Mm.
And so, because, the more I then learned about the natural physiology of birth and its protective mechanisms when it's undisturbed, like any other mammal, we are a mammal, right? The more I learned all of this, then I was like, well, it would be risky for me to choose these interventions unless I felt like there was a reason to. And I just let my own inner guidance. I like prayed to my granny a lot and just
Mm.
like was like, okay, we're all here for this. because of this reason, because women trusted in their bodies and they trusted in birth and they trusted in the support of other women who had walked that prior. And so I just lived in that experience. I took it day by day. And then I had the most amazing, boring birth of my daughter because it was like there was nothing like it just unfolded the way it needed to. Like,
Oh, I love that. Will you like paint a little bit of the picture? Like what the labor started like
yeah,
all of that. Because it might sound
so
boring to you, but to me, I'm like,
yeah, it's
tell
no,
me
no, no, no,
everything.
absolutely. I'm happy to.
Taking a quick pause on my conversation with Dr. Sonia so that I could share with you an invitation. If this conversation is stirring something in you around women's wisdom, embodiment, sovereignty, or the deeper healing that becomes possible when we come back to the body, I'd love to invite you into my free class, The Pleasure Gap, happening live on April 27th. That's a Monday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. We're going to explore why so many women feel disconnected from pleasure, what closes the gap, and what becomes possible when you reclaim this part of yourself. You can register now at the link in the show notes. I'd love to have you there. And now back to the episode.
Oh, okay. So I'll go like 2 years prior to my daughter. So when I was still in grad school, my husband and I took a journey down to Tulum and we sat with ayahuasca and definitely I now how I see it is like I don't believe plants are necessary, but they can be big part of people's awakening journeys. And so it was a part of ours and we were welcoming the spirit of a child soon. And so we wanted to do that kind of healing ceremony together. And I had a very like visual experience. And so I saw the face of it wasn't my grandmother, but it was a woman in my lineage. And I saw like her wrinkled face, like kind of end of life in front of me. And it was very comforting. It was a lot of just feelings of love. And then there was this script that kept coming across. And I still to this day don't know what it is, like um, some kind of ancient script. And so when I was 39 weeks, about 39 weeks, with my daughter, I was going to bed at night and I knew I was getting closer to the portal and went to bed, woke up around midnight and I was awake, but I felt like I was still in a dream state and the same script came across. And I was like, here we go. This is it. Like I just was like, I just knew like things were gonna start and don't otherwise know how to explain it. And I was like, okay, well, don't get excited. You're gonna want your rest. So I like try to get myself to go back to sleep, and then my water's just released. I was like, I knew it. So I like look over at my husband and he's sleeping, and I was like, don't wake him up yet. Like try to, like try to get as much rest. And he's a teacher, and so I knew he'd like wanna have to or like submit some sub plans and be prepared. So this was a Thursday night. And like I don't know, maybe an hour. Time is so like irrelevant when you're
Right,
in the portal.
right.
So maybe like an hour later. So I started to feel like waves and sensations. So I did wake him up and I was like, so, don't get excited, but like maybe submit those sub plans. I think we're gonna need a plan for our son. My son is 8, almost 9. And so at that time, our plan was to bring him to our neighbor's house just because it was my first time going through a vaginal birth after the C-section too. And so I was like, I don't know how I'm going to respond, and I don't want anyone in my space because I see myself going primal. I don't know. Like
Fair.
I just don't want anything stopping me from however my body needs to express to support me. And so yeah, I just felt the waves. I went back and forth from the bathroom. I wanted to stand a lot. So my son is sleeping next door to our room. And I'm just back and forth between the bedroom and bathroom. And my husband is asleep, awake. I'm asking for water. He's like just supporting me however I ask. Otherwise, I'm kind of doing the dance by myself. And I felt like high as a kite. Like I was just like, I wanted to listen to the Beatles.
Oh
No
my
idea why.
gosh.
I asked
Oh
him to
my
put the
gosh.
Beatles on, but I was like jamming and I was swaying. I had a robe on me and I was like rubbing my tummy and it just like, I don't know, it felt like good and pleasurable at times, which like super intense to like super pleasure to like just a little bit of what am I doing here? Like just kind of like
Yeah.
back and forth and all of these things. And like you are definitely, I mean, everything kicks over because like kicks in to support you through this as it sh as we're designed. And I about like I think it was about 5 a.m. or so, I felt like heavy pressure down and it was like felt like I was getting close. And I kind of went into a sense of panic because I was like, I need to roar. Like things are good. I'm gonna get loud. I don't want to scare my son when he wakes
Uh,
up. I was like, we need to bring him to the neighbors. And like it kind of snapped my body out of that state. And so I was like, that's where I started to feel pain. And so pain intensity, like, I mean, I felt like I was close and there was something that was stopping me. And so my husband got a hold of our neighbor and it's so funny. As soon as the garage door went up, because like he just took my son, was like, hey, we're going to the neighbors, didn't even like let him know what was going on,
right.
rushed in my house. As soon as I heard the garage door open, I like went all fours and was like, like, here we go. Whatever I need to do. And it was
Oh
so beautiful. Like so then my husband drops her off. He comes back, he sees me, and he just like we had oh here, I'll back up. This was my birth plan, okay? It was a screenshot of one page on my phone
my
of like, give me water, put pressure on my low back. Like it was very, very basic. And
God.
like I had two red flags that was like, these will only be like you won't even know about them unless like I tell you. They were like it was like a cord prolapse um and a placental abruption. That's a placenta. Like so it was like if there was a lot of blood or a cord before a baby came, and that was pretty much it. That was my like, and I was like, and it would all be directed under me. There
Yeah.
was no other reason that he would do anything other than just follow my lead. And in all caps was like, look at the time when the baby's born because I really want to know her human design.
Dude, yes.
That was like the important parts. Okay.
Oh yeah, that would be mine
So
too.
pretty much, okay. So he comes in, he sees me like whatever. And just I don't say anything because I can't say anything at this point because I'm just like all in it. And he puts his hand like around my belly and on my hip, and it felt so good. It like was just like, oh, and like she literally just like slid out after that. It was just like I just felt like contained. And I asked him afterwards, I was like, why did you do like, and he's like, I have no idea. I don't know. Just seemed like you just needed support. Like it's like
Ooh,
that we are designed for this. We are
yes.
designed. And so like he held me. She was born. I wanted him to help kind of like so she like came down and he lifted her up. And it was funny because before I even saw her face, I saw between her legs and
Yeah.
I sensed it was a girl until the end. Then I had some weird like I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But right away it was like she's here. And so he like held her up on my chest and she just opened her eyes and like let out a little cry. She nursed right away, which was like so cool.
Wow.
And then so this is like minutes after she's born and she's nursing and we're just like laying there kind of in shock and awe, just so happy, elated. And I was like, oh, I forgot to grab a bowl and I really want the placenta out because it feels like it's time. And I just like want to be done with that part and not have to think because this is so lovely. And like because
Yeah.
she was nursing, like I felt like it was ready. And so he's like, oh, I'll go get a bowl. And I just like looked down and I had some like kind of puppy pads laid down. I was like, meh. And I just kind of like
Just a
pull the
little,
cord up just a little. And then like he comes in, he's like, and I was like, yeah, just scoop it up. It's fine. And we were just like so giggly and like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, this is so cool afterwards. Just like, and just like staring at our beautiful baby girl. And my husband just like, he looks at the his phone, he looks at the time and the date, and his best friend in high school had passed away on the day of her birthday. And so he was like, this is when Connor passed away. And like, so he just starts like happy sobbing. And I think, his adrenaline's super high. And then he's like, wait, what do we need to do next? And I was like, nothing. Like, I'm hungry. I bet you're hungry. I'm tired. Like it was like
Like,
so different. Exactly. It was like, I was like, maybe go outside, get a little fresh air. And then I've got soup in the fridge. Let's warm that up. Like, again, so boring. Like, at that
yeah.
point, we were just like, so we had our soup. We slept for like 4 hours. We woke up and we're just like cuddled in our own comfortable bed. There,
Uh,
like, and like, full transparency, like there was a lot less fluids than I thought. We just like contained everything in the sheets and had sheets made twice so we could just like fold everything up, toss
Yeah.
it, and had clean space to sleep on. And we, I chose kind of I wanted to do a lotus birth so you keep
Mhm.
the placenta attached because I just think it's so beautiful that um, just energetically, it's the first mother. And so
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
put dried rosemary and salt that I just had in a container in a jar, and we just sprinkled that over it, and it just kind of cured it. And
Mhm.
it was so cool that like she got her first transfusion. As she transitioned
Yeah.
into breathing the air, it was like she got the support of everything from the placenta without it being clamped, just without looking for an issue. Right.
Mhm.
Like that was like a huge kind of aha moment to me is it's like we're not even like we don't have to look for issues because like if we were just to leave things alone, like
Yeah.
that's how
Don't
it's meant to
interrupt it.
be.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so it was such a cool experience. My husband just like it was so cool to hear his perspective and hear to like he was so proud and like we were at he's a wrestling coach and so like he's around a lot of like very masculine men and we were at a hotel for like a wrestling thing like I don't know, maybe a few months ago even, and someone like asked about like you're like the weird one that like did like the birth at home or whatever, and he's like, oh, it's just the two of us, and then people like we want to know like, and he was so excited to just like explain like he's like yeah, it's awesome, like any guy can do this. We're not even doing anything, like all we do is just make sure like they're good. Like I was like yes,
I freaking
so
love that. I love that he was so hyped on it.
so hyped.
And of course he's proud. It's like the everyday miracle, but you did it.
Yeah, and like I want it for every other woman. I
Hmm.
mean, why not? And I'm real to yes, there always can be a true emergency, but like
Hmm.
you're at a higher risk of anything happening when you put your child in a car seat and you drive to the grocery store.
Mm.
Do you think about that every time you do that? Like, do you think about it when you walk alongside of the road? But why? And again, you're responsible for another person's life, so I understand that. But like, why does birth have to be such a higher risk when relatively it's not? It's the story, it's the narrative, it's
Right.
cultural.
Right. Absolutely. And I was going to just ask because you mentioned unlearning, and obviously this was like an 8-year
Mhm.
difference between births. So you had it's a lot of time.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's, a little bit shorter for some women going from their hospital birth to a free birth, or even like a midwifed birth to free birth. But I'm like wondering what would you say if there were any occasions or moments that feel like they stick out to you where you really built your not just self responsibility, but like the sense of self trust?
I think a lot of it was just like walking through it myself. I felt like I just kind of like, not that I had anything to prove to anyone else. I think I just had to prove that I was ready for that level of authority for myself.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
And
like, yeah, did you feel like you had to defend yourself to someone like your mom, for example, who is an L&D nurse, like
yeah,
to your friends who you worked with at the hospital? Like,
that's
I'm
no, I, and that was, of course, something I like. That's why I kept my pregnancy very quiet. Like my mother-in-law, like, and I'm open books. I have a really hard time, like, can't
not
lie.
sharing. Yeah.
Like, yeah, not sharing. So, like, I remember my mother-in-law like asking about the ultrasound picture or whatever, and I just like blah, change subjects. I was like, I couldn't even like go around it. But like for like my nursing friends and everything, I kind of waited till afterwards and then was like, hey, we're here and this is what happens. And like, just like in a very gentle way.
Mhm.
And then I was like, I am open to any and all questions. And I was met with so much love and curiosity. I really was
Mm,
because I think like my lived experience and like, I mean, I spent almost a decade in the hospital that was my day-to-day life. And so I think women at that point were just curious, like, what got you to a point to to making this decision? And I was like, because it was the decision that we felt was safest for our family. That's what it came down to. It was like
Mhm.
I wasn't rebelling against anything. I was choosing that that maternal instinct that you put the safety of yourself and your child first, and that's what felt safe. Because like if you look at, I mean, our country, our maternal like death rate is terrible.
Mhm.
Things are not going in the right direction, and more intervention
It's not helping.
is not supporting it. And so it's
Right.
like, what happens if we look at this a different way? And and I really was like, I mean, and I'm so humbled by my nursing experience, and I'm so thankful for the providers that have the heart that are still kind of stuck in that system,
Mhm.
not knowing what to do next. I trust everyone's going to find their direction in their own way, in their own time, but like it so changed how I care for myself, my family, the women I support, and how I look at the world even now that I just couldn't imagine any other way.
Mm-hmm. Just gonna let that one land for a
Yeah.
second. Because it's not just a reframe on birth, like you're saying. Like, of
Mhm.
course, it's gonna impact the way that you then care for yourself in postpartum and how you care for your baby in those early years and how you mother
Mhm.
and then how you care for other women even in your lives that are also going through that same portal transformation. Can you talk more about um, sovereign support? Like, what does that what does that look like in community? Um, like, what is this? Tell me about this offering, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, so well actually I wanted to just answer quick. You had asked about my mom and I had
Oh yeah.
forgot to
Wait, we
mention
didn't
that.
hit
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
You're right.
Sorry. So my father passed away in 2023 of Alzheimer's, and my mom was diagnosed pretty soon after. We
Whoa.
thought, yeah, it's again part of this healing journey, a huge part here. And so it really like opened my eyes to like the how sacred our time is together, what how I wanted to show up as a daughter and a mother, being kind of this sandwich generation of caring for my parents, looking to our future. And I think a blessing in disguise with my mom is I think it just made her like less opinionated and more open to like she always trusted me, and that's something I'll always appreciate about my mom is she was always just knew I was gonna do whatever I wanted because I always did. Like I always got my way. Like in like if
Love
something
it.
felt right to me, nothing was gonna stop me from getting there. And my mom always like said that. Like she was like, "You're always just gonna find a way." And so when I told her that this was our plan, like I wanted her to know that I was like because I kind of wanted her to feel proud of me as she does. And she like was like, "Yeah, if that's what's right for you," like that she never questioned it. She my brother brought her over. So 3 days after she was born was Easter then last year,
Mm,
and he
mm,
brought her over for a short visit. And she just like it's like riding a bike. I just saw her holding my daughter, and like it all just come back, and like it was just like it was so healing to the relationship with my mom when I was feeling like I was such a caregiver for a few years there that I was like,
mm,
no, I need like my mom to be my mom again. And that's what I was kind of scared about in that postpartum time was like protecting my energy there. And it was so beautiful to just like see her hold Nova and like just know that like we're always healing too. And like she's had improvement in her health too,
mm,
since having more purpose again. She wasn't driving and I would Uber her over at the house to help care for us when my husband went back to work. And like it's really changed our relationship in such a beautiful way. And the ripple effect of that then has been how I've showed up for my community. And
mm,
so um I I when I returned back to work in the summer, then a few months after she was born, I switched to just supporting women. I'd always wanted to, but just part of that mindset when you start into business is everyone's told you're supposed to be a general practitioner and see everyone. And I'm like, okay, but I still wanted wanted who I wanted to care for. And so I really narrowed down to supporting just really that, like I love that maiden to mother transition. And so when to be honest, I don't even know when the word sovereign came to me, but it was just like, just this the kind of meaning behind it is really like resourcing yourself and learning enough about yourself that you can make decisions that are best for you without the opinion of others. And so that's how I've always seen my relationship as a provider is like walking alongside of women. And so I created Sovereign Support. And I really felt like I was limited to just the one-on-one support in the clinic. And so I, really started expanding my reach online. And Brittany and I are in this amazing mastermind business coaching container together, which is how we got connected. And I feel like it's just really helping me share my story because I say your story is your medicine. And that is what sovereign support is. It's a
Mm,
circle for women to come together that all have this shared self-responsibility and hope for where we're headed as women, healing the feminine, bringing back the wisdom that was lost that's always been within us, reconnecting to our bodies to find it because that's where it lives, right? I
mhm,
feel like we can
mhm,
both speak to that.
mhm.
And so I'm just on this journey now of how to expand my offers and open this container up even further so that all women that feel they're on this journey have a place.
Mm.
And this community is just, it's beautiful. I love witnessing women in their power. And I think it's once they hear someone else's full story, the good, the bad, the messy, the part, what it is to be human, it's
Mhm.
like I see that spark come alive and that's healing. That's what that is. It's like it's the ability to experience pleasure and joy again and all of what's been numbed out of us. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's ugh, so glad you named it all like that. Um, oh God, there're just so many thoughts that are running through my head. And it's like I totally hear you on the like loving to witness other women in not just like sharing their stories. Like this is one of my favorite things to do, honestly, is like hear and host and talk about other women's stories and really like get inside and notice where these shifts happen because it does create this like ripple effect. And so when you're in a community where you feel encouraged to share your story and yeah, just like especially if it's a story that you feel like you've reclaimed or retapped into this inner wisdom that was once lost, or you felt like it wasn't there before, but it totally is. And you're just like reminding yourself of your power every time you share that story, but you're also like lighting the way for another woman to find her own center. Um, there's nothing
and
like that.
and 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 it's like it really opens a can because there's just like there's no stopping once you understand what it means to be sovereign and having that choice for yourself. Like this, so I'm 3 years into business now. I'd worked for the large healthcare organizations. A business has been like its own healing journey to me as well. Like I said my father was in business, but he really like he spent a lot of our family's money and my mom had to work really hard then to earn that back. She worked a lot of
Mhm.
night shifts. So like
Mm,
the wounds coming up there, right?
yeah.
And like getting into this space, business is the biggest entrepreneurship is the biggest lesson of personal development and growth, right? And it's like it's helped me reflect then. So it's like, okay, yeah, birth was one portal I worked through, walked through. And now it's like, well, what has my relationship with like wealth and money really been like? And now I'm stepping into that journey, learning what sovereign wealth looks like. And I mean, where does it end? It's like there's a one to the next, and it just gets more amazing each time we like it's like leveling up,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely. I can feel you like thickening the layer of sovereignty, and it is like just one cobblestone ahead, like one at a time. Because like you're saying, like once you see it, you can't really unsee it in other aspects of your life. So I can't wait to like keep following you on the wealth sovereignty journey. I find that so far out for me. Like I could see it happening ahead, but I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's hard to wrap
Ah,
my mind around crypto. Like I have
it'll
friends
come,
doing it.
it'll
It's
come
like,
sooner than you think.
oh my gosh. Probably. No, you're probably right. But I 100% agree with you on the business aspect and having that be like another one of the personal development things. Like it's like personal development on crack, you know? Um, you go through so many transformations, sheddings and transformations. It's pretty crazy.
And sometimes way faster than you've ever imagined before.
Yes, yes. But what's so cool about the relationship, at least in my opinion, of like a birth portal and a birth transformation, that transition from maiden to mother, like that's sacral energy as much as root energy and wealth and money and creativity. Like how you build wealth is a creative process, right? Like
Absolutely.
your business can be a creative adventure.
Completely.
So it's like it's
Yes.
all sacral root to me too, because like foundationally, like how do you support yourself? Like how do you live? That's root.
And and to like kind of tie this into the work that you're doing now, Brittany, too, it's like our sexual, our sensual energy, the more undisturbed birth is, the more you get to experience that. And like I spoke to that woman, like our tissues realign at birth, right? Like I didn't realize that I actually had some numbness from my C-section scar until I don't.
Mm.
Like there's been like an increase in pleasure and what I've felt like following birth. And no, I didn't tear. Every woman does not tear their first vaginal birth.
Thank you, Sonia, for saying that. Wow.
I felt great after, but I honored the first 40
Yeah,
days,
did you
and
sit
so it's
in?
like I did, yeah, and it was so lovely. I didn't leave my room or like had a little room bathroom, except for one time. Here's a funny story, quick to end it. So my husband was like, it was like 2 weeks in. He's like, I'm really sorry. I know you're not leaving your room yet, but I can't get the freezer door closed. Can
Oh.
you please help me? I don't want to leave it open. So I go out of my little den and I just make a quick like turn to the living room and it's chaos. It's so messy. And I'm like, I just like
Just come a
choose
little
to ignore.
bit
Yeah.
away.
I like go up, I like open the freezer door and there's just like one little thing in the way and I like move it and I close it and I look
Oh
back at him.
my
He's like,
God.
I am so sorry. And he just like ushers me back into my little den. Just like nothing to see here.
Bless your husband. He sounds so sweet. That is so cute.
So yes, those are, like my lived experience. Then I, of course, share with women how to set themselves up for success because the more we can nourish and support ourselves, the better we show up, the more creative we can be. It just again is it's ongoing. And so, yeah, I'm so thankful for the time that, and the voice you've given me today, Brittany. And yeah, I am so supporting women online. So Sovereign Support is the name of the membership then that I offer. I do have a free version called Sovereign Circle, which is open
Mm,
to any woman. And so any woman that just wants to dip their toes in, be in the community, those that do then go a level deeper into sovereign support, I have created 4 different kind of self-guided journeys for each. I call them sacred seasons. So one is around menstruation. And then for women that to want support around conception, fertility, and
mm.
then there's the birth, pregnancy and birth, and then kind of motherhood and beyond. So really a taste for every woman, whatever season they're in. They can journey a little bit more, learn kind of the theories of Chinese medicine and how to
Mm.
support themselves. So it's all about, again, relationship to our environment. Food is medicine. There's so much in it. And then my latest offering I'll announce if that
Yes.
works. So
Oh, please
so
do.
yeah, so then to go a step deeper, this spring we'll be walking together through a portal called Mother Wise. And so that is really a deep dive into the sovereign mother and what it means to just not it's not about, adding in more information, but more embodying what we already know as our inner wisdom. So it's that embodiment piece that's like, okay, I understand the concept. I want that for me. Now, like, how do I actually start to live it and practice it? So,
Mm.
you know,
Oh, I love it.
this is where we're
Great
heading.
embodiment container. Oh, sounds so juicy. I love that. I love that. Because I feel like it just makes the whole process so much easier when you are surrounded by other women that are doing that work. So,
Absolutely. Yes.
uh,
And like, yeah, exactly. Put yourself in spaces where this energy resonates, because it's like we only continue to lift each other up once we find our people, right? Like
agreed.
the energy, it just
It percolates and it bubbles
amplifies.
over and
Yes,
it
it
just
does.
explodes.
Yes.
Well, I'm so excited for anyone listening. Yeah, if this resonates, please go check out Dr. Sonja. She's incredible. And I can't wait to see more women inside of your circle, support, and then mother-wise.
Yeah.
All the links will be in the show notes. So please go check it out. And thank you so much for being here and sharing your voice. It was your voice to begin with. I just wanted to hear it.
Well, we're gonna have to come back now and talk about the sovereign wealth journey, because, cryptocurrency, blockchain, it's all actually much simpler than it's put out to be. It's hyped a lot more, but once you learn decentralized systems, it's like, okay,
Honestly,
I can walk this path.
once you started sharing recently about how you have been chatting with your son, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like I mean, I ask AI sometimes to tell me or explain things to me as if I were like a 7-year old.
Yep.
So I appreciate that perspective because it gives me like some, yeah, like I can put my foot in the door a little bit and not be so
Absolutely.
intimidated because goodness, it can be intimidating. But yeah.
I think, and I'll tell you, it took me like 3 years to get to the point of being open to learn it, but also like the right teacher, the right timing, the right energy. Like once things align, then you're open to receiving. And I mean, yeah, if I can explain it to my almost 9-year-old son, like
Yeah.
anyone can understand the concepts. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. We'll definitely have to have you back for that and more, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. It's going to be so good. But yeah. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time. Thanks for listening and for placing your finger on the pelvic pulse. I'm Brittany Ellers. The music for this podcast was created by Just Tech, and I'm grateful you're here breathing this conversation in with me. You're invited to stay connected by following the show on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen, and by sharing it with someone you love. Beyond the podcast, there are 2 free spaces waiting for you: the Arousal Anatomy Adventure and my private podcast, The Pool of Presence, both designed to support you in coming back into your body and listening to what's real right now. You'll find everything linked in the show notes. Let your curiosity lead you and enter wherever you feel drawn. It's an honor to walk alongside you.